Welcome to the Old Lady Hour with Lorrie and Sheryl. Today's guest is Kerry Leasure, who we're very excited to have. She's an award-winning artist, and she makes jewelry art, art that is jewelry. Maybe she has a better definition than that. She lives in Hoover, which we're having fun talking about local things, and she just got back from Finster Fest. And so that was what I really wanted to start off with, was talking about Finster Fest, because that was the last art fair you have been at.
It was at Howard Finster's Paradise Gardens over in Somerville, Georgia, and it's a pure folk art festival. I guess I had never really thought of myself as being folk art, but when I was there among all of these lifelong folk artists and my work with theirs, I was like, oh, yes, it does suit the genre quite strongly. I guess I hadn't thought about it because I'm not professionally art trained, which that is folk art, right? But I don't think about what my niche is.
So we'll back up a little bit and say how you came to do what you do, and we'll have pictures on our YouTube of some of the really great pieces that you make, so people can get a visual. But just a brief how you started doing.
How I fell down the rabbit hole.
Right, that's right.
Okay, so if you told me when I was 39 that I was going to be a full-time working artist, I would not have believed you. My kids were little and I loved them to death, but I was kind of bored out of my skull. And we were on really tight budgets, so I was doing a lot of estate sale and yard sale shopping for our home, and I love vintage and antiques. So I bought those for furnishings, but I'd find all this extra stuff. So I decided to open an antiques booth. And so that was easy. It was like a fun little side gig. The kids were like 6, 4, and 2. And pretty shortly after I opened the antiques booths at local antique malls, I started playing with tiny broken things and turning them into simple adornments. Think like a brooch on a chain or single clip-on earrings into a bracelet. And it was definitely not art. It was just a fun little craft. And I was selling them to friends of mine and mailing them. And not long after that, I really started breaking down and wondering what I could do with other things that weren't originally jewelry, and eventually was taking the broken bits and pieces and associating them with each other, and I realized that I could make a story out of them. In my undergrad, I have an English major, and
Yay, English majors.
Yay, English majors.
Yay.
And I had never, I just liked to read, but I had not ever really done anything with it because I'd been a kindergarten teacher, and all of a sudden it all came flooding back, how every word has its immediate meaning, but then it might also have a sub-meaning, and the other parts of the poem or the novel associated together, it creates a new meaning. So I just fell down this hole of starting to do that with objects, picking something up, what does this mean, and what does it mean when placed with this, and just creating these tales that you can wear.
So, and it just has taken you many, many places now.
Oh,
and I feel like the Finster Fest, if people don't know about it, it's kind of a pinnacle of folk art.
It's a really big deal.
And it's hard to get into.
Well, you can't ask to be in it.
You just are chosen.
The man who runs Howard Finster's Paradise Gardens, Howard Posner, he researches you. He came into my booth last fall at Kentuck. He followed my social medias, and he just kind of simmered on it and decided whether or not I was going to be a good fit. And so
there's only
70 artists.
Okay, and
there's not often spaces that open up.
I noticed. I was looking it up today, some things, and there's an asterisk by the new artists, and there's just a few.
Just a couple of us. Yeah. It was a real honor to get selected, and they had a grant this year from the Andy Warhol Foundation, so it was completely free to the artists. There were no fees.
That's great.
It was amazing.
It's kind of the way you hoped it'd be.
Yes.
As an invitational.
Yes.
And I noticed Scott McQueen, who's one of our podcast guests, was also there. So I feel like
and he was the person who mentioned me to Howard
Oh,
Posner. He
okay.
suggested
Okay.
that Howard take a look at me and my work, and had told him that he felt like I would be a really good fit. So, I mean, I'm forever grateful to Scott for doing that. He's just, he's such a kind man and so thoughtful. And of course, we had a blast being neighbors. So
Sure. Okay. So and it was, I guess, there's a whole way of being at an art fair, both for the people that attend as artists and then for the clients that come through. So to me, it's always like you're setting up this village out of nothing.
Yeah. No, it is. It's like this fun little community. The folk artists were a completely different vibe from like the big national professional like art figures. I've done some of the top shows in the country, and
Tell us what states have you been, or some of the shows that you've been in.
Bayou City in Houston, Texas, Des Moines Arts Festival in Des Moines, Iowa, which you would never expect, but is like a top 10 show in the country. It's just, the city's incredible. Highly recommend going to the city and the show. Kentuck Festival of the Arts, obviously.
Which is
I've done
coming
stuff
up
all over
pretty
the
soon?
Southeast. Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, I can't wait.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Kerry will be there.
Of course, I will be there. But national artists who travel all over the countryside, and there's little caravans in their vans and stuff, they have like this really intense energy, and they get to the grounds and they set up all of the things, and it's like go, 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 and there's this this motion. They just get things done, and it's
very kinetic.
Very kinetic. And at Finster, the folkies, it was like, we'll get there when we get there, and they were all just like, it was so slow. They like took all day to get set up. Of course, like I pull up in my truck and I'm boom, bam, boom, like everything's out. Get truck out of the way, chink, chink, chink. Tent up. Like I'm like doing my thing, and everyone around me.
It's like slow
It is in
motion.
slow motion. And I was like, wow. And if you stop to talk to anybody, like you were going to stand there for 20 or 30 minutes. It was awesome. And of course I was like, I am just going to soak this in.
Oh, good, because that would give me anxiety, because I'd be like, no, I got to stay on task.
No, I was totally
okay.
fine. I was like, you know what? I'm going, like, let's do this. Like, let's folk art. And I thoroughly enjoyed the conversations and just the observation about like the culture of this group of folk artists. Now, they also have this tradition of going on Saturday night to this restaurant called Jim's in Somerville, and it's just like
This is in Georgia.
This is in Georgia, in Somerville, Georgia, and it's rural. Like, to go to the festival, you have to drive to the Walmarts, and park your vehicle and get on a little van that takes you to the festival, because there's not enough parking at the grounds. So, like, you got to think, like, it's a small town. And so they all go to Jim's after this long day of working and talking their heads off. And there must have been, it was most of the artists, it was like 50 or 60 people. And I have never seen a group of artists so content and happy, like, just delighted to be in one another's company. Like, there was no complaining, there was no whining, there was no, like, they were just thrilled to be together. And so after a long day of talking, they got into this space, and they were louder than they had been all day, and they were calling to each other and like shouting out jokes, and like the camaraderie of the folk artists was, I mean, I've been in a lot of special arts communities, but this one, it was really extraordinary. It was a really special experience.
That's great. So, it must feel very encouraging and uplifting to have that feeling.
Oh, and they're like, you're family now. Like, there's no.
It's not really. It's not
Nobody's
like,
giving me the hairy eyeball.
It's not like backstabbing.
No, it's like nobody's like, do you belong, or you're not one of us because we've been together for 30 years, and like you're the new person. Like, not at all. Every single person to a fault was so kind and welcoming, and just so glad I was there, and I just immediately felt at home. I told my Kentuck friends, I was like, well, I'm a folkie now. I was like, so Kentuck, I was like, I'm not going to be able to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to have to go sit at the big table with the old timers. And both Jane and Kristen kind of gave me a minute, and then they were like, yeah, no.
Yes. Not yet. No.
Kristen was like, no, we had you first.
Yeah, there you go. But it does kind of beg the question about categories of art, and I think we try to over-categorize it, in my view.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with just calling whatever you want art. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you can see differences.
Right.
And
I mean, I'm not buying silversmithing or something.
It's definitely, and how you've come to, that's why I said it's really art that is in the form of jewelry, because it's not about like precious metals or.
No.
Right. And what are some of the materials that you have used?
So my through line is that it all has to be antique and vintage and found. I mean, with some exceptions, obviously, like chain and that, kind of thing that I can't find enough old chain. But that like is one of my first loves, and so that is like that's intensely central to what I make. So, but I mean, I'll use anything, like stuff that other people might just think is trash and get rid of. I figure out how to use for. In fact, before I really knew Sheryl, she came to my booth at Kentuck with this rusty tin can of just like wires and I was like, oh, okay. But I have used those things quite a few times. I just never know what I'm gonna need. So if you see my studio, you tell me to stop buying stuff.
But you don't know. These are all your ingredients, and so what? I think you have used. They're not actual teeth.
They're just old dental samples.
Dental samples that look like real teeth.
They do look like real teeth, and they freak people out. So I put them into this kind of chain. It's called cup chain, that you would typically put like rhinestones into to hand create a rhinestone necklace, and then I integrate them in with multiple strands of pearls, and it's kind of, I like a play on like a strand of pearls. I call it a Sunday morning strand of pearls. Like you go to church and how are you doing? I'm fine, everything's fine. And so that strand of pearls is lying. Nobody's life is just fine and perfect, and we're like, everybody's like, we're all pretending sometimes. So I like to take pearls and try to make them tell the truth. And so the teeth pearls are telling people I'm feral. Like, don't come at me. And I've done a whole ton of variations with pearls over the years. Just like being honest, I have another one with a child's tin shovel and all of these pearl necklaces that are just falling apart, and it's like kind of dug into them. And I call that one digging myself out of the mess of my own creation, because like, for a lot of us women, like, we're putting a smile on our face and pretending everything's fine to the public, but sometimes at home everything's just falling to pieces, and we're scared to be honest with each other. But
so this way you can signal it with your jewelry.
I like honest. I want honest art. Like I was like, I want us to be real together. And in fact, I will joke, like, don't ask me how things are going, because I will tell you.
That's all right. That's good.
I will tell you. It's terrible, or it's like fantastic. I never hold back. So.
Well, and that's one thing I found with talking with a lot of artists, that a lot of times we go right to things that are not small talk.
Right.
It's right to right to the heart of things. Sometimes that does scare people away if they're not used to that.
Do you feel like maybe artists or certain types of people, like, I have reached an age where I'm done with shallow people. Like, I saw somebody on the internet the other day was like, do we wear white after Labor Day still? And I was like, wait, what? Like,
is that a question
now? Who cares? Like,
yeah,
is this like, this is the subject? No, like I don't. I don't want these surface relationships.
We wear teeth jewelry,
right? And like we make sure we have our tetanus shots.
Right.
Got mine last week.
Yeah, you gotta have it. So I don't know. I don't want to be in shallow relationships anymore.
So when you're in your booth, and you have your jewelry arranged as stories, and so do you feel it a little bit as if it's like a meeting place?
It is,
and also maybe a therapist office.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like we have great conversations over my work, and sometimes over the years, of course, like I'm being very expressive of wherever I'm going through, but then sometimes people will relate to a story so deeply. Like I've had women burst into tears and like, share what a butterfly means to them in their life and like the tragedy that they associate, and just like seeing it really touches them. Or it's laughter. I mean, I make a lot of really hilarious
They're so funny.
humor forward pieces, and I'm alone in my studio and I'm cackling to myself like a little witch. And then when I get them out and then people are walking around my booth laughing, I'm like, I am not simply crazy. But I did actually have a really intense older couple once kind of go through my booth like piece by piece and look at each one, and their glasses were on and they were looking at it and they're looking at it, and they came over and they looked at me and they said, "Do you see a therapist?" And I said, "Welcome to my therapy." Like I've got all these things inside of me, but I'm getting them out. So, art as mental health.
And the art that you make and create is born on people, so it's kind of more intimate than say maybe an object that you put on the wall or.
Well, and a lot of times people do hang them up too.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, like they don't want their stories to go into a drawer, so like they're out. Or like I've got a few like men who hang the necklace up and they'll take the title and everything too. So it has kind of crossed that barrier.
It definitely could. They could be wall pieces as well. But I mean, I think there is something about that. Is a very feminine form.
Yes.
And
yes, it is an adornment.
Yeah.
And depending on like the men in Houston love buying my stuff and wearing it.
Sure.
Like,
I mean, men can wear it.
Yeah. They just have to be bold enough to do that.
That's right.
And so Houston, love you guys.
But a lot of the, because they're storied, sometimes you use actual lettering in the.
Yes, yeah.
I know.
Old sign letters. Yeah.
I know my daughter Liz has one of yours that says feral.
Yes.
Which is really fun.
Yeah. I like. Yeah. Feral women are entertaining.
Yeah, that's just kind of wild, and we are the old lady hour, but we could be kind of the wild old ladies. Really, I'm looking at Sheryl; she's nodding. Yes.
Yeah. No retiring wallflowers here.
No. So that's why we're broadcasting this to the world. Anyway, so what are some of the other? I'm just very curious about the evolution of going from making some pieces in your studio to like then. Being on basically like a circuit or a tour of art fairs, because that's not easy to do.
It's not. Very early on, like I did. I mean, you start where everybody starts. You try something out. So I did some sort of like wine thing down at Rossbridge that was like an absolute unmitigated disaster. I did the Junior League Christmas thing. I did that for a couple of years, but that was really long hours, and my stuff got too weird for the league.
Well, what wasn't your audience?
It got a little, like once I really started deconstructing and it wasn't just pretty anymore, I was like, oh, I've got to find people. Mm-hmm. I've done antique shows, I've done breweries, I've done parking lots, I did sidewalk stuff. It's a lot of physical work, and I think you figure out early on whether or not it's for you,
because you're not just dropping something off and letting a store sell it. Every time you're showing it, you're basically having to set up your store.
Yeah, and you have to think through your display.
When I first saw your work, you had a display with I think it was like
Doll trunks.
little doll
Yeah,
trunks.
because my business name is Here a Chick, There a Chick.
Yes.
So it was for the Here There, and I loved that booth. Like it was. So
was
I had
very
I
cute.
had collected like 20 old doll trunks, and I put cup hooks in them, and I had them stacked up in a wall. So you walked into my booth, and it was this vibrant installation with the jewelry all hanging in it, and I know I was naming them at that point. I think I was just writing it out on the tag and like attaching it to the necklaces. But I joined some artists' Facebook groups and, reading about shows around the country and looking at people's displays. And, you read about the application process, about your artist statement, about the displays. And like, I had a really solid cry because I realized I wasn't going to get into the better shows unless my booth looked like a gallery. And I've never wanted to do like tables with like neck forms on them.
Right.
Like that's very nice and it suits like small silver jewelry or what have you. But like
This is different.
Right. And I wanted my booth to still be expressive of like me. So I was in the shower one day and I was like, well, I call them my stories. I was like, I guess I could display them on books. And then I was like, aha, books. And I was like, and you walk in and it's walls of them. Another thing I like 2D booths is when you walk into the space and you're in that artist's,
Just enveloped.
you're enveloped in it.
Yeah.
Like that, in that sense of gallery.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, why couldn't jewelry also feel like you're walking into a gallery? So that's how I came up with the boards and the books, and I had some carpenter friends who helped me like work out the minutia of it, but it is my original design, and they cut it all out for me, and it's really nice because it all breaks down and I can load it in and out of the truck by myself, which is important.
It is important to think about the physics of these things, and even for me, in having a storefront, I try to make everything in here either light enough for me to move or on wheels or both.
Right.
And so, because I'm not like huge and strong, and so I'm old, I'm frail, and
No, you got to think about these
yeah,
things.
being able to move and break everything down into smaller parts. It's art is a very physical
It is very
occupation. And unless you have a lot of assistance, which
Some people do.
some people do.
I have never had anyone to help me out. An occasional grouchy child who learned quickly that they didn't want to be an artist. And nobody wants to be an art fair artist in my family. But
I have been an assistant.
Back during the
But-
pandemic, because like prior to that, like just the act of doing art festivals all of the time kept me in good enough shape that I was able to do it. During the pandemic, I was like, I got to do something. But then also, I had teenagers, and so this ended up being like a really good rabbit hole for my own mental health. Was I picked up yoga, and I have been religiously practitioner of it. I just use an app at my house. I don't go to a gym or anything, but I do yoga multiple days a week because I know I need to maintain my strength. Especially like I just took a long break from art festivals this summer, and I just was intensely dedicated to making sure that I was doing it at least 5 days a week. And sure enough, I mean, it gives me the core strength, and I never want to set up in an art festival and have a sore back. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Or a pulled muscle. Like,
Right.
this is very important to me because I love the show so much. And if I'm in pain, I'm going to be miserable. So the yoga has helped give me enough strength it's a very heavy booth setup. And then also to keep myself from being in any kind of pain.
And then while you're at the show, you have to have a good bit of stamina just to be
You
out
do.
there, because you're
You do.
outside.
You do.
I mean, you're in a booth, in a tent, but you're still outside. It's
And
like-
the people interactions.
and then,
Yeah.
it's all day long, people coming and talking to you.
You got to sell your work.
And then, and you have to kind of nudge them along sometimes. I don't know. Or they just,
I'm not a nudger,
Okay.
but I'm chatting with them. Like when you go to an art festival, you're also buying a part of that person. You meet them, you like their art, then you hear their story and their personality, and that it's all part of their experience as patrons. So I want everybody who comes into my booth to have like a positive experience, whether they make a purchase or not. But I mean, for me, I know when I really like an artist, I like I want more of I want their things in my home.
Sure.
Because it's like you're looking it's like you're looking at your friends.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, I never pass my little orange cone without laughing and thinking about you. So, it's just, how to.
Yeah, it's just, this the artist personality that comes through.
I don't know how people sell anything who just sit behind their booth being grouchy. Like, straight out, like, I don't know how they make sales.
And that is, it's all, like, there's so many elements of this, both, creating the work,
You study it.
Yeah,
you study it.
Getting the booth, keeping in shape, applying for the shows, traveling to shows,
taking pictures of your work,
taking pictures,
your artist statement, your when you have a bad day at an art festival, how you react to it, like deciding.
And there are going to be bad days.
There are going to be some really bad days.
Have you had? Do you want to? I mean, you don't have to say the
story.
Well, I would love a story.
Do you want to? I mean, I don't care about the name of the festival. I'm never going back.
I mean, you can.
But it's not the festival's fault.
Right.
It was a show in Florida. It's not their fault. I got in. My work was not right for the show. The guy next to me selling concrete garden watering things, who was an absolute delight, and I thoroughly enjoyed his company for the weekend.
But it was a different.
He sold $20,000 worth of garden fountains, and I sold $300 worth of jewelry.
And just for the people that haven't done these things, it's very costly.
It's very expensive.
You have to pay a booth fee usually.
And the booth fee, the drive down there, the accommodations, the copious amounts of wine I had to drink.
Plus, you had to make all
after that show.
So anyway, go ahead
to this. Okay, so the story keeps going. So I was under this gorgeous banyan tree. Like I was like, okay, this is fine. But the ground was really soft and sandy, so you couldn't pull up to unload. And a couple of my neighbors were real turkeys, and I ended up having to walk every piece of my booth like 50 feet because you couldn't use a dolly. And I was like, and it was my turn to pull closer. And anyways, so I kind of flew into a little rage, and I was like swearing under my breath and like walking back and forth and throwing everything into my truck. And the last thing I did, I was mad. I was not reacting well. I threw my tent poles into the back of my truck, and one bounced up and smashed my rear window.
Oh, no.
And the sails went out of me like immediately. I completely deflated, and I was like, oh wow. I was like, that was me hurting me.
Right.
And it's a really good lesson to me, and and I try to remember it, not that I'm perfect, but whenever I'm losing my temper, I'm like, this is only going to circle back and bite you. So I try, anger is my least favorite emotion. So then I had to go to Walmart with the sound of glass tinkling out of the back. I had to get garbage bags and duct tape, and then I was the girl in the pickup truck in Florida, from the Alabama girl with the duct taped window driving through Florida with the Alabama plates.
All right.
And it was classy.
It was very, very good.
And it was $1,700 to repair that.
Well, I'll just interject. It's a similar glass problem. It wasn't actually my fault, but this was just a show that I did, and I was doing a kind of indoor circuit of shows in Tennessee. And this one in particular, it was for school, and so it was a little different setup because it's easier. You just have an indoor booth, but the parking for the school was next to a golf course. It was 2008, and the recession was going, and I think I had sold nothing at that point and no one was. It was really terrible, and so I walked out after a day of very discouraging sales, and someone had shanked a golf ball through my windshield, front windshield.
Knew this was coming.
Yep.
Knew this was coming.
Right through. The golf ball was next to my van at that point, and it was old by then. So, I was saying, well, what model do you have insurance for? And I'm like, it doesn't matter at this point. I can't drive home with this. It was completely shattered.
Yeah.
And also, I just kind of remember feeling bad saying, it's a 98 Sienna. It was a big old green van at the time. So anyway, and it was a weekend, So I think I ended up driving it to a place and they repaired it and the school paid for it because I think I shamed them into it. And so, yeah, I had no sales.
I mean, I understand the pain, but then you also have to like pick your ego back up off the ground.
Well, it was
like not every show is a good fit.
Yeah, that was more an economic problem, almost more than a show problem, just for the time at that point.
Gotcha.
But it was a low point. That golf ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Just adding in
windows will ruin your day.
Adding insult to injury.
Salt in the wound. Yeah. I hear you.
Well, what are some of the good shows then?
The ones that I do well? Mm-hmm. Okay, I have found, like, as I've sieved through and done so many shows, I really do best at professional art festivals. I can't compete with, like, buy, sell, or somebody selling smashed spoons for, like, $7 each. I mean, you know, there's a market for everybody and everything, and I really just prefer well-run professional art shows that value the artists. The community is really important to me. The staff really like checking in and like, because I mean we are working really hard, like, and we're all in this together. So I think I try to be value added to the festival. Like I'm going to follow their rules and do all of their things, and in return, like they do their things, and then it's a well-oiled machine when it's like that. So, wait, what was the question?
Well, it doesn't really matter. We're just like talking
like
about
the best shows for me. Yeah, I mean, and I've got a whole ton that I love, and there's more that I want to do. Like there's shows I keep applying to, and I never get in. But for me, rejection is motivation to work harder. So like I took a lot of time off this year, and because I had a senior in high school at home, and I used that time to like ante up my work to make sure I was like creating something new that was really cool, to get better images, to a better booth shot, you know, like all of these things help. Now, there's still some shows that I'll probably never get into, like modern art festivals. I don't know that modern art's ever going to let me in. So
okay, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
but
I'm still throwing money at you, Artisphere. If you're listening, I'm still throwing it at you. You got my $40.
Okay, so yeah, and it's. One thing we talked with Scott about, and I'll just mention again, is with the upcoming Kentuck Festival, a lot of our listeners will be visiting artist booths.
Yeah.
And there is an etiquette to this, which some people, a lot of times an art festival is the first time they're really encountering art or artists, and so sometimes they may not know exactly how to act. So we're going to give them a little help with that. So what are questions that you really don't want to have? Or do you not?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've gotten such a thick skin at this point. Like, I don't mind people expressing dismay or dislike, because a lot of my things are in my booth to be reacted to. But I mean, I would say for the most part, a lot of artists are very sensitive to direct criticism. Like, if you think your nephew could make it, don't say it.
You don't really have to
say
it.
Like, you don't have to. If you don't care for it, just like smile at the artist and nod your head and move on. Like, you don't need to tell us, and you don't need to explain to us why you don't need to, like, why you're not making any purchases.
Yes.
Like, we understand. Like,
you don't have to say.
You don't have to say, I've got 800 necklaces at home. It's totally fine. You're not hurting our feelings with just saying you like our work and or not saying anything. Just smiling and walking on. It's totally fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And also, don't ask what's the least you'll take for this.
Oh yeah, we've got plenty of shows to take our work to.
You know, I was just like,
if somebody has a sale bin, they have a sale bin. But
sure,
yeah,
there's just some things like that just don't.
Or if you're hoping for it to go on sale, follow the artist's social media.
Sure.
And a lot of artists do have a like end of season sale or just clear out old work that they've had for a decade. Like I know Liz just recently did that.
Yeah.
I once had an overabundance of old earrings, and I was at a show that was really slow, and I did a super fire sale like 4 pairs of earrings for like $30 with free shipping, and all you had to do was send me like, and it was a mystery bag, and people went crazy. That's not happening anytime soon, so I'm excited. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't know. Definitely follow the social media of artists because it's fun.
What is your Instagram handle?
Here a chick, there a chick. People tell me I'm entertaining.
Yes, and we will put the links on the YouTube, and you'll be able to see them and follow Kerry, and that'll be great. I think we're going to take a short break right now, and I want to make sure that everyone knows that this podcast is brought to you in part by Overly Helpful Helene. When you need someone who's overly helpful, call Helene.
Helene! Hey, do you like what you're hearing? Hit that like button for us. Show us a little love. And while you're here, why not add a comment or two? Because we love hearing from you. Thanks.
And we're back. We're back with Kerry Leasure. We're talking about art fairs, and life, and everything about it. So one of the things that people can forget when you're talking to an artist or you see what they make is that they also are just people and have lives.
Yes.
And so sometimes those lives get a little complicated, get a little crazy, get a little messy. So
just like everybody.
Yeah. And so even like taking the time away to do shows when you have a family, you have obligations.
Yeah.
So do you feel that you have a way to balance is not the right word, but just how to handle all of the disparate things that you have to do in your life?
One of the really nice things about being an art fair artist is, like, as the kids have grown, like when they were little, I only did a couple of shows a season, and as they've grown, I've gotten the flexibility to like add more and more into the schedule. And when my son graduates in a year and a half, my youngest, I want to really hit the circuit full time and not have to come in home between shows. Like, people will go down to Florida and stay for a couple of weeks. And I have never been able to do that because, I love being their mom. So, I don't mind driving to and from, but, somebody's, got to buy the milk, I guess. And to be their shoulder to cry on and to comfort them and, take care of business at school. So the thing I'm getting to, yes. Okay, so my art life has gotten to grow as my kids have grown, and that's been really wonderful. So it's been,
and it's probably
and I pull back sometimes, like this last year when I had a senior who needed me more at home. I was able to like say, oh, you know what, we just need to do less this year, or nothing this summer.
Right, and I think that's okay too, to take a step back from what you're doing. And sometimes if we're just making, sometimes it's good to have that time to evaluate, which you said you did.
Yeah.
So
you have to have that flexibility. I don't know how people who are on the road full-time all year do it. I know
you have friends who are.
I do. I have a lot of friends on the professional circuit, and to be fair, I feel like the ones who really have the most freedom are their younger couples, and they have not had kids and they're not planning on it. Like they're going to be in Colorado, they're going to be in Missouri, they're going to be,
and that's the life they lead. And that's
what they've chosen. It's a fascinating lifestyle. Like, if somebody had told me that was a choice, by the way, you guys, it's a choice. You could do this. And it's just so fun because you meet you run into people again and again, and you're all going out to dinner together and hanging out behind your booths and stuff. So there's like the intimate community of being an artist is like really, really fulfilling.
And that is, I think it happens more with art fairs than, for instance, I've done more gallery shows and galleries, and so really it's a lot more isolated because it's like I'll make something, I'll drop it off, and
you're not hanging out for
no, in fact,
40 hours.
And I was used to, because of having young children at home when I started off this, just to be like dashing somewhere. I made a lot of day trips to Atlanta and Nashville.
Yeah.
Get up there, get there early, do what I need to do, drop it off, maybe get some lunch, and then drive back to Tuscaloosa and pick up kids from school. So that's,
which are beautiful paintings sell themselves. Like, I feel like nobody sells my work like I do. So anytime my work is in a place, because we're not having a conversation around it, like it loses some of its magnetism.
But I mean, I guess I'm saying I didn't have a lot of contact with the other artists.
Oh, okay.
So I'm enjoying that now.
Yeah. Yes.
That's all.
Yes, because artists are the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of it too is because my daughter's also doing some painting, and I've helped her with some shows. I've been the assistant, and that's been really fun.
Yeah.
So just because I get to be there, but
Watching her in action.
but I don't have to do the paintings.
Yeah.
I can just be there and kind of have fun.
Now having done like a couple of like little gallery things with like Liz, or the group show that we did with Callie and stuff, I mean, well, I guess like your opening nights and stuff, like that's social, right?
Oh, I have plenty of social things
Yeah.
here, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's you have to like really search for it.
Yeah.
And so that's, it's just thinking about how to build community, which you really need.
Yes.
And
Yes, because otherwise making art can be very isolating.
that was my
Yeah.
main point, is that
It's a lot of time by yourself with your own thoughts in your head. I struggle with, after an art fair, I call it like the post, like the Monday letdown.
Oh, it's
It's
it can be
intense. Like,
bad.
I love being around people. I'm very extroverted. So, like on Mondays, everyone gets up and goes to school and work and stuff, and then I'm like, meh.
Right.
I'm lonely. I'm like calling people, like, talk to me.
I'm all by
Or
myself.
one of my favorite things always was like, your family loves you, but they aren't like goo goo gaga. Sometimes like art fair patrons are, and I'd be like on a Monday, I'd be looking at my family and go, I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Don't you know this magnificent mind of mine? I'm joking, but people tell you the nicest things all weekend, and then you have to get back to reality.
But I think there's also just like people don't know what you did, and so that was partly why I like talking to you and talking to Scott, and like even with talking to artists who have this life.
Yeah.
Because people really see only little bits of that. And so I know when I would go do a show and come back, it was like I had this great experience, or sometimes not, but an intense experience. It'd be an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
And then you come back and no one knows where you were or what you did, and they don't care. So, it's really nice to have like people that understand the whole thing.
Who get it?
Right.
Can you be like, because you can say like, can you believe like I left such and such from my tent at home, and then somebody goes, oh,
Yes.
how did you get it up?
They
It's like
understand,
nobody. Yeah, like I have my neighborhood friends, like my mom friends, and I spare them.
Right.
Like they're,
Yes.
it's like we have a totally different conversation. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that it's just, I'm just saying the artist life can be a very odd life.
It is. It's very quirky.
It is very quirky, as I said, and I was mentioning when we were not on the air about the past week, we've had some challenges, including, I don't know, we keep having a rat issue, basically. And so I think we've solved the rat issue for the moment, but it's always something like that. We're in an old building, and so infestations are just part of it, and it's part of the art life. So it can seem really glamorous.
Oh, the weather.
Oh, well, okay. So
I
like being
mean,
outside with weather.
So
have you been there in like during like tornadoes or anything like that?
Fairhope?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, Fairhope. You always lose a day. Like somebody was asking me, should I do this? So I was like, yes. I was like, just be prepared. You always lose a day. But I don't know. It's sort of interesting. You're kind of like, okay, and you don't want anybody's tents to blow away. But like a couple of years ago, we weren't opening on Friday morning because there were tornado force winds expected, and like one of the local Mexican restaurants opened up early and just let us sit in there and drink margaritas while we watched the tents flail.
The tents went flying.
Like no, they were fine, but they were like,
yeah.
and we were like, woo, cheers.
One of the big things at an art fair is they have weight requirements for the tent.
The good ones do. There's some that don't. The worst I ever saw was Panoply at Big Spring Park. March in Alabama, if you don't know, is crazy. It's a crazy time to do art festivals because it's tornado season. But we were all set up around that lake, and I was in this hotel room with glass that faced it. And the first straight line winds came through first thing in the morning, and I was standing up in the glass window screaming and watching tents tumbleweed into the lake, or like pop-up tents, if they're really not well weighted, can just become missiles and like taking down other tents. Now my tent is a big light dome professional tent. What is it? Trimline. I have a trimline. And my boards weighed it, and then of course I do additional weight, but I was up on top of this bridge, and my tent was shaking like a freight train. Like it was going side to side. It was crazy watching it. And in that moment, I just decided that if it went over into the lake, that was it. I was just going to get in my truck and leave and let Huntsville clean it up, and I just wasn't going to be an artist anymore. Like that was going to be
That was it.
I was not dredging the lake for these necklaces. Like, I will be done. And then later that day, you cleaned up, straightened everything else out, and then they had another line of storms come through. The nice thing about Arts Huntsville made sure that the artists weren't there so that we wouldn't get hurt, because you could get killed by a flying tent. And so they closed the festival and make sure that the patrons and the artists are out. And not all art festival organizers do that. And that same day, there was another show where artists were physically in their tents trying to hold them down and getting lofted up into the air with their tents and stuff.
That's terrible.
And it's dangerous.
It is
and
dangerous.
This is why I say the organizer really matters.
Yes, it does. I know Liz was at a show once that a tornado warning was going on. And
Oh, we were there together.
Were you
that
were there?
was our first.
That was
I helped her.
You did, because she was panicked. It was pouring down rain.
And her little wagon of stuff fell over, and I could see her like having a panic attack.
Oh, yeah.
And I totally went full mom, and I like helped her get her stuff back on her wagon. I was like, "It's gonna be okay. Like you've got this." And
It was good, because it was a Sunday
Yeah.
morning. I was in church and I was texting her. Said, "There's
Yeah.
tornado warnings in Birmingham."
Yeah.
I knew she was out in the park.
and I didn't really know her that well. She
Yeah.
was just a few doors down. yeah.
She ended up losing some artwork,
Did she?
and she had an envelope with cash in it, and it was gone.
It's stolen?
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
There was a sweet homeless man who was helping me, and I was shoving money into his hands. That same festival, this is Art Festival Mom Life, it was 3 days, and on Friday morning, my son was throwing up at school. So my husband, who works in an office, went and got my son and then dropped him off at my tent, where my sick son then sat behind my tent for the day. Yeah, but what else were we gonna do?
This is life. You have to keep going.
You have to you have to do those things. You get the call from the school that your daughter sat in ants, and you call your mom friend, can you go pick up my daughter? Because she just needs to go lay on a couch until
Right.
Steve gets off. It's
Right.
just, that is really when you feel really bad. But simultaneously, you've got hopefully, you've got a community of people that can kind of lean in and help you.
Kind of come in.
Just like any job.
Right, yeah.
Right? Nurses need a community, teachers need a community,
Everyone
lawyers
does.
need a community.
Just ours is maybe a little quirkier at
little
times.
quirkier.
It has its own little problems and things.
Yeah.
And so you've got the Kentuck Festival coming up. That's
Yeah.
October 11th and 12th. I
Yeah.
have the right dates.
Yeah.
So just like everyone, I was very excited about it.
Yeah.
It's going to be, hopefully, it's not a home football weekend, which
They can't have
they
it
can't
on
do-
a home football
Right, so
weekend.
they kind of switch the dates around.
'cause
So
Roll Tide.
that's coming up.
Yeah.
Then people can see you there. We'll put a link to your website. Do you have some other
My
things?
website is really poorly updated.
Okay.
I
How-
put all
but
my new
it's
work
on
on
Instagram?
Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
It's always available.
Okay.
If you want something, just let me know on
That's-
mail. But I will have a ton of new work at Kentuck, and it's one of my favorite festivals of the year. Definitely, what I always like to say about Kentuck is Kentuck believed in me before I believed in myself. When I was first starting out, you have imposter syndrome. Everybody kind of goes through it. And that is a group of people that really told me, you're one of us. You're welcome. You've got this. Keep going. So
Yeah, because that was part of the evolution from
the parking lots and
into
breweries.
maybe I am actually
yeah,
like part of this.
Yes, I am. Like, am I an artist? Maybe I'm an artist. I think I might be an artist.
And that is a big step.
It's a big step.
It's a big mental step.
It's a big mental step.
Because I used to say, no, I'm not an artist, I just like to paint.
Right.
And I still feel that way, really, but
Yeah.
maybe I've been told it a few times, so I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe.
The evidence points.
Well, maybe, because I
Well,
sure
you're
like to
I
paint.
don't have a degree. I don't this. I don't
I-
that.
yeah, but I mean,
you know,
no one really cares about that. I mean,
Not in Art Fairland, no.
I mean, even here, I don't have an art degree either. And so, I mean, I feel like all artists are self-taught artists because what you're doing is so individual.
Well, your creation, yeah.
Right.
You're right.
So
Because even
there-
if you get a degree in painting, your paintings aren't coming out the same as the rest of the class.
But you
right?
have, I mean, you can get some technical work, help and help with thinking about art decisions and so on. But ultimately, you have to figure it out yourself.
Do you want me to tell you, like, one of my biggest imposter syndromes?
Yes.
Okay. So, Bayou City, the one in Houston, it's this really big festival, and artists come in from all corners of the country. When you go to an art festival and you see 20, 30 different states listed on booths, you know you're at something really special because they're willing to drive, 17, 18, 20 hours sometimes to get to the show. Okay, so I get there, I do the setup, I'm looking around at these booths, and like these like each one, like some of them look like they've been airdropped from Miami. Just like straight off of just really high end. And I got back to my Airbnb and I was like hyperventilating, like with the imposter syndrome. I'm like, they are going to come around tomorrow morning and they're going to see my booth and be like, how in the world did she get in? And so the festival opens, I calmed myself down, I'm doing the thing. There's always, people walking around doing the judging or whatever. But then Saturday morning they do an artist's breakfast, and next thing you know, they have called my name. There's only 4 or 5 awards at this show, and I have won the curatorial award from the Museum of Fine Arts Houston.
Wow.
The staff of that museum had selected my work and my booth for the category that year, just happened to be jewelry. And yes, and I was like, it released something in me. So then the next time I went to Houston, I went to the museum, and y'all, in their permanent collection throughout the museum, they have displays of art made from unusual objects, like from history, from like scarab beetles to carved out of lava to, you name it, Victorian hair ornaments, on and on. So, of course, they walked into my booth and immediately recognized a lot of their collection. It was that was the breaking point. After that, I was like, okay, I'm good. I belong.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's fantastic
Yeah.
to have that affirmation.
Yeah.
And so the other thing I was going to ask about was basically your collecting process, which is moving off to a little bit of different.
Yeah.
But I think you are at heart in some ways a collector.
Yeah.
And so
Hoarder.
a hoarder collector, but there's a fine line, really.
Yeah. Well, the
yeah.
difference is I'm completely willing. There's very little in my studio that I don't share, and I teach classes. You can come to my studio, and unless it's something I'm working with, like, you can have at it. I've got so much stuff. Yard sales, estate sales. The Nashville Flea, back when it was good, used to be my bread and butter, and I still have a lot of stuff from when I used to do that. I'd go up with wads of cash and come back with 90 pounds worth of tiny objects. It's not good anymore, don't bother. But
Stay away.
I have antique stealer friends, like people in Texas and in Oregon, and like all of these connections on Instagram, and they'll reach out to me and say, I've got this, do you want it? And I'm purchasing it from them.
Sure.
But like other people, it's like having 40 other pairs of eyes out searching for vintage goodness, and so it's not just on me. But I call it junk karma. So I save junk, or junk that I can't use. I've given a ton of stuff to Scott over the years. I've got other artists that I share with, and then people bring me things in my booth.
Yes.
They just like show up with boxes of stuff,
Right,
and
yes,
I saw you were going to be here. You can bring me things at Kentuck.
Yeah.
I will love it. Cheryl did.
Yeah, if you got great stuff.
If it's really good, I'll barter.
Yeah, there you go.
Like,
There
you
you
can
go.
trade it for a necklace if it's
There you
really
go.
good
If you got-
stuff.
And so, I mean, I think this.
No keys. I don't need more keys.
Okay, no more keys.
No more keys.
It points to the generous nature of art and artists,
Yeah.
and I think it inspires generosity.
Yeah,
So that is just another benefit of art.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
and you're not afraid to say like, yeah, don't go to this place for junk collecting.
No, I mean, I'll
or
tell you
go-
everything.
Right.
I'll tell you the tools. I'll tell you, I mean, go for it. I mean, I know how much work I put into my work. So
Mm-hmm.
like, and I've taught classes. Like, it's not instinctual. You've got to practice. I'll share anything. I'll share anything you want to know about getting into art festivals. Jane and I have often talked about putting something together that just
And that's Jane Morgan.
Jane Morgan,
Who's
yeah.
another
painter,
artist
and
in the,
one of my
and-
friends in my neighborhood.
and she does a great job. And
Yeah,
so,
she's-
and that's another thing about like mentoring each other, or art. So you're sharing with younger artists or artists they could be older, just starting.
I mean,
out
they
at
still have to
different
put in the
place.
work.
Right.
Like, having a little bit of information doesn't get you anywhere. You've still got to put your feet on the ground, and you've got to run the marathon.
So you're working in your studio every day.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, every professional working artist I know is in their studio working all of the time. It's like, it's not a it is a have to. Like, your brain,
You have to.
you have to. Like, there's no choice. My studio is right off of my kitchen, luckily. So, like, as the kids have grown, like, I've been able to do math homework and work, start dinner and work,
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you can combine it.
You can.
Mine is here. Now that I'm retirement age and we are old ladies, as I've said several times. Carrie, you're just an honorary old lady for the day. You're not an
I'm
actual
not an old lady. My daughter was like, "Oh, you're going to fit right in." I was like, "I'm
No,
not."
you're not. You're just.
I'm not.
It's
Not yet.
It's aspirational. So,
Well, I mean, the plans are
Yeah,
to get really old.
that's right.
I plan on it.
the plan is that, and then to keep doing art. So, but there's a lot of pressure to like take time off, go travel, do this, do that, and all I really want to do is come in here and paint.
Yeah.
And it does sound like really kind of boring,
But you love
that's-
making your work.
that's what I want to do,
Yeah.
and I have time to do it now. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
and the podcast. We can do other things too, but I don't. I mean, I'm sure it's great to see a cruise or Europe, but hey, I could be my studio painting with it and hoping that no more rats come in. Yay! All right. So, do you have any other shows coming up this year or big events?
Yeah, after Kentuck, I'm going to Memphis for River Arts, which could get interesting if they send in the National Guard. There's been a little bit of a debate in the arts community about that, and I've decided that in this cultural moment, I want to be there with it.
Sure.
I want to have my camaraderie with other artists. I want to have the conversations in my booth, and if I see the National Guard, I'm going to take a selfie and put it on my Instagram.
Maybe they would like some of your jewelry.
Right? Who knows?
Yeah.
And then after that, I have Pensacola. And then I'm waiting for juries for winter. I'm debating whether or not I go to Florida. And we're already applying for spring. I mean, it's really a crazy gamble. Like, you are applying 6, 7, 8 months in advance sometimes. There's a fee. And then you wait for it to jury. It's a spin of the roulette wheel, whether or not you get in. And then you're giving them booth fees upwards of, $500, $600 6 months in advance, hoping that when you one day arrive at that festival, that you'll make your money back.
Yep, that's it.
It's a gambler's life.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, but it's thrilling.
It is so fun. It is really, there is no other drug like it. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
there it is.
There it is.
All right. Well, Sheryl, you know what time it is. It's time to watch our shows.
I gotta watch my shows.